Hello travelers! I am Lorekeen, your traveler's guide to Tyria, and because my Queensdale series has such a warm reception from you, I have decided to take you on a vacation to the tropics. Or the closer we get in Tyria, which is the Maguma jungle with its tarnished coast. We will start with Caledon Forest. The story of how Sylvari came to be is already famous. Ronan, a human and a member of the Shining Blade, was called to join the Crichton Civil War, of which we talked a bit in our first series, about Queensdale and its history. In his travels, Ronan found some seeds hidden in a cave and he took one to bring it back to his daughter. Unfortunately, when he returned home he found his family murdered by Mursaw and the village in ruins. In his grief, he laid down his weapons and planted the seed upon the graves of his family. Ronan is joined by Ventari, an elder of the Harati centaurs. Ventari was also trying to leave his fighting days behind. First he set up a small refuge in the arid parts of the Maguma jungle, but he was forced to abandon it because of the war in Kryta. His legacy remains in that area, and today we can find a peaceful tribe of centaurs in Drytop, and their leader, Ergen Cragstrider, may be directly related to Ergen Windmane, one of Ventari's followers. From there, Ventari fled south to the Tarnished Coast where he met Ronan. Together they founded the Ventari Sanctuary, a place of peace for all races. In the middle of the sanctuary, even back in the days of Guild Wars 1, you could have found a white sapling. 8 years later Ventari dies, leaving behind a tablet with his teachings that will be the cornerstone of Sylvari way of life. The sapling grew to the size of the city, and more than 100 years later, it started to bear fruits from which the Sylvari would bloom. It also means that the grove rests over a grave. One of the theories of why the Sylvari look human is because the tree fed on human remains. Small spoiler, it's not true, as there is another Sylvari in game, who was born from a different tree, and still has the same human appearance. Although there is a corpse grove and other interesting trees in the jungle, the connection between trees and dead people has to do more with our somewhat recent affair with the Titan. The devs explain the human appearance on the Pale Tree's influences from Ronan and her abstract notions of human bodies. It still doesn't explain the other Sylvari yet, so the exact lore will remain a mystery for now. Write in the comments what your theory is. You never know with these things, someone may have got it right. As a Sylvari, your story begins in your dream, when you sense the nightmare's intrusion. Although you are still far away, you dream of Caledon Forest, of this waterfall here where the water scintillates with a dreamlike quality that awakens the imagination. Among Sylvari, it is legendary as a landmark that straddles the barrier between the dream and the real world. This is also where as a Sylvari you learn Ventari's teachings. From Ventari himself, as he lives on in the dream. For these reasons, this waterfall remains a place of power even outside the dream, where you can channel it for a hero point. The magic of this place is also the reason why you see so many Wind Raiders, which otherwise don't like human places. Legends say that the Raiders, like the humans, are not from around here, that they have been unleashed on Tyria by a mad mage, Sibitha. Many Wind Raiders are capable of chaos magic, similar to Mesmers. During Ventari's time, you could have found them not only patrolling around the sanctuary, but also performing a ritual a bit south from the island, along with a group of fanged ayahuascas, other chaos magic wielders.
What's it like to feel the call?
It's difficult to describe. It's a tightness in your chest, and a buzz in the back of your head. You can't stop thinking about what must be done. It gnaws at you and climbs your soul like a parasitic vine.
That sounds unpleasant.
After leaving the dream, you find yourself face to face with Minder Saramon, who assisted in your awakening. Unlike the rest of the playable races, the Sylvari are not squishy inside as they only imitate the human anatomy. They are made of hardwood, they glow at night, have a British accent, as they are inspired by Irish and Celtic folklore. Pollen falls off of them as they move, they have no heart, and instead of blood they have a golden sap. When wounded, they can regrow parts of themselves. Because of all this, they need Minders, rather than healers. And Minder Saramon will also answer some questions for you, only if you are Sylvari, including where you were before you awakened. All you have to do is look up. Yes, those big blue berries are where Sylvari gestate. And if you look closely, you can even see the embryos. That is not to say that the end product is going to be human looking, as sylvan pups are born in the same way. I'm not judging the Pale Tree, I'm sure she knows what she's doing.
When I dip my ladle into the dream's knowledge pool, I think I accidentally used the straining spoon.
I know what you mean. My knowledge of the world feels spotty at best.
Oh, to be omniscient! I haven't the slightest idea how to cook, but I know a word like omniscient.
The Pale Tree sees all. We must believe she showed us exactly what we need to know.
This whole place was set up to welcome the new Sylvari into the world, and it includes a teacher and even a warden requisitioner, who provided with the first pieces of armor, although from now on, the saplings will have to buy it themselves from their travels. Being born fully grown and in possession of some knowledge, makes them seem naive, and combined with their curiosity and eagerness to learn, the Sylvari can end up in peculiar situations. An example is the sapling that Gallia was supposed to mentor, but keeps wandering off chasing butterflies and hummingbirds. The question of hair and whether it hurts seemed to hunt many of them, like Rian or Farmer or not. Of course, mentoring them is no easy task. Tyner is a young student struggling to find her calling, as her mentor pushes her towards thieving, but she would like to be an elementalist. Just goes to show that you can't predict what the Sylvari will be passionate about. Zetaronia, for example, is fascinated with the cycles during which a Sylvari may awaken. It's a sort of horoscope, and you can choose which cycle represents you in the biography section of character creation. It has little effect on gameplay, but it determines which luminary you meet first.
Being a Wild Hunt Valiant makes me no better than anyone else. It merely means I have a more firmly defined purpose.
You have a responsibility.
I have a responsibility because I am alive. We all do. Being a Wild Hunt Valiant just means I know quite clearly how to fulfill mine.
Pardon me, I'd like to talk to you.
From Warden Rondell we find out more about where we are. This is the Village of Astorea, where you can seek guidance from those who make their homes here. It would also be nice to help them in their time of need. The village has a lot to offer. For starters, like in Queensdale, it has 2 cats that you can take home. In Queensdale we found the cats that respond to warriors and mesmers. Here we find the cat that will react only to elementalists, and she wants a slice of rainbow cake which you can buy from Divinity's Reach, or it can drop after stopping the Choya Pinata in Amnoon. And here is the one for the ranger. Yes, it has a pet. And it wants a healing seed pod, which you can buy from Dinton the Durable, after you help him safely transport their supplies through the swamp, next to the First Heaven in Gendaran Fields.
Everything has a right to live.
Why do you keep saying that?
Trying to garden with all these termites, I just have to keep reminding myself. Everything has a right to live.
You might wonder why Sylvari need gardens? They don't, they use the harvest to keep the sweet animals of the jungle healthy. You too can kick prickly trees for their fruit to drop in order to feed the moas. And occasionally, a human or Norn will come through covered with jungle fly bites, and the plants here help. For this reason, the farmers take their job very seriously, like Farmer Katara here, who has a special affinity for mechanical herbs. He is a dedicated farmer, even if part of him wishes he was destined for greater things. You can help Warden Delilah keep the farmers' fields safe. Everyone is working hard here, including Maeve, who is busy keeping an eye on Leary in order to avoid him, but she somehow lost track of him. He annoys her because he thinks he is so great, having left his pod a minute before her. And she once made the mistake of telling him she thought she heard his name in her dream.
I understand why the wardens must be sent out to patrol other areas, but with so few of us left here, and the undead stepping up their attacks of late, I worry that Wardenhurst could fall.
Would you like me to hold you?
Does that move work on other guys?
This solitaire island is also related somewhat to farming, not for food or medicine, but for fashion. In the middle of the island we find the last of the Wardenlight trees. It is a symbol of the Wardens, the Sylvari military force. Parts of the tree are used to fashion all those fancy Sylvari weapons and armors. So you see why it is important to defend it when the termites are attacking it, especially if they burrow into the ground, as they might destroy the roots. If you are successful, Ordiniton will become a merchant and sell you spiky fruits, which you can take with you and throw at your enemies to knock them down. If the tree is devoured, don't despair, as the roots are pretty deep, so it will recover in time. Evren is a member of Order of Whispers who dreamed of tall icy mountains, probably the Shiver Peaks. Blue-black ice shards were falling from the sky, and the land bled where the shards impaled it. He plans to go there in 3 days.
So good to live here, just outside the city.
Agreed. I don't think I could live farther away.
The joyful spirit of the Sylvari can be seen not only in their fashion, but also in the aesthetics of the village. Their training area is probably one of the most cheerful from all the zones.
Drat! It seems the town lamps have gone dark. I'll need to get some firefly luminescence to relight them. Just a bit of work, and I can get the town beautiful again.
Warden Onwin is also trying to add a bit of style to the village. She needs help with gathering firefly luminescence for her lanterns, which would light Astoria in a beautiful blue, both pleasant and practical, as it would help expose undead. Of course, like in any tropical areas, any kind of light will draw the mosquitoes. And then she will need your help to clear them. Earlier we met Minder Ceramon. This is his boss. Minder Aviela is chief among the Sylvari Minders. She can tell you about Nightmare Court, and she seems to know a lot about trolls. The moas behind her are her pets, Oliver and Mingay. She raised them since they were chicks. Behind her hut, we find a true expression of the philosophy that everything has a right to live, 4 minions enjoying the sun. Maybe a necromancer forgot to pick them up? By the way, the technical term, according to our friends the Tyrian Explorers Society, is necrominions. Simona wants to know if the other beings are to be so squishy all the way through. Do they slosh inside? And if you are a Sylvari, she told her friends she would ever see you, she would challenge you to a friendly duel. Yet, here she is, still injured from her last duel. But she can learn from you how to dodge a fight, or maybe patience. For that lesson, she will wait for you until you come back. And speaking of coming back, we will return to Caledon Forest and continue our visit in the next episode, when we will discuss all the dangers this charming little village has to face. If you enjoy this kind of content and you've learned something interesting, please like and subscribe to support the channel and hit that bell button to join us on our future adventures. Until then, happy exploring!